Black billionaire fakes a coma. What his racist nurse whispers will leave you. Speechless, the steady beep of the heart monitor was the only sound in the private hospital room. To the world, Marcus Ellington, tech magnate, billionaire, and philanthropist, was fighting for his life. But beneath the motionless facade, Marcus's mind was razor-sharp, listening. He had a reason for this elaborate act. For days he'd suspected something was wrong. Small bruises, whispered conversations that stopped when he entered. And then, one night, the nurse assigned to care for him leaned close, thinking he couldn't hear, and spoke words that would shatter everything. Marcus Ellington wasn't born into wealth. He clawed his way up from a childhood in one of Chicago's toughest neighborhoods, building an empire in renewable energy and becoming a rare black billionaire in an industry dominated by faces unlike his own. Despite his success, he never forgot his roots, funding scholarships, community centers, and mentorship programs. But wealth attracts enemies as well as admirers. 2 weeks before the incident, Marcus had collapsed during a board meeting. Doctors claimed it was exhaustion, but something in his gut told him otherwise. He overheard fragments of conversation between nurses, noticed a few unsettling mistakes with his medication, and felt a shift in how certain staff treated him, not as a patient, but as a problem. His instincts told him he needed to know the truth. So, with the help of his trusted lawyer and a private investigator, he devised a dangerous plan. He would fake a worsening condition, even slipping into what appeared to be a coma, to see what people would say when they thought he couldn't. Here. The first few days brought only harmless gossip. But Marcus knew that patience was key. He waited motionless, listening, until the night his primary nurse, a woman with an impeccable record but an unsettling coldness toward him, decided to speak her mind. The nurse's name was Ellen Price. She'd been on Marcus's care team since day one, outwardly polite, but her eyes often lingered on him with something colder than detachment. Marcus noticed how she seemed to forget his water, how she rolled her eyes when his visitors, often from his old neighborhood, came to see him. That night, the room was dim except for the faint glow of the monitors. Marcus heard the soft squeak of her shoes against the linoleum floor as she approached. She began adjusting his IV, her movements quick and practiced. Then, thinking herself alone, she let out a sigh and muttered under her breath. At first, it was just grumbling about babysitting rich people. But then her words sharpened. Can't believe they're wasting all this money keeping him alive. Doesn't matter how much money he's made. Still just a black boy from the ghetto. Bet the world would be better off if he didn't wake up. Marcus's pulse quickened, but he kept his breathing slow and steady. Ellen's voice grew even colder. Funny how they call him a philanthropist. Probably just laundering money like the rest of them. I've seen the way he looks at me. Thinks he's better than us. One little accident with the meds, and no one would suspect a thing. She chuckled softly, the sound chilling in the quiet room. Then she straightened, her tone shifting back to professional as she left. Marcus lay there, his mind racing. This wasn't just prejudice. It was a threat. The following night, Marcus put his plan into action. His lawyer and private investigator were waiting in a nearby room, their recording equipment ready. Marcus lay still as Ellen came in for the midnight check. This time, she didn't just mutter. She spoke clearly, venom lacing every word. She mocked the news coverage of his condition, sneered about his charitable work, and hinted again at ending his life with a small adjustment to his dosage. What Ellen didn't know was that every word was being recorded, her voice captured, crystal clear. At one point, she even laughed to herself. Wonder what the headlines will say when the big hero dies quietly in his sleep. That was all Marcus needed. He opened his eyes, slowly, deliberately. The look on Ellen's face was pure shock. Her mouth fell open, the color drained from her cheeks. Before she could move, Marcus spoke for the first time in days. I heard every word. Security, alerted by his lawyer, entered the room within seconds. Ellen was caught frozen, still holding the IV line she'd intended to tamper with. Within hours, Ellen was in police custody. The recordings left no room for doubt. Her words were a chilling mix of racism, resentment, and premeditated harm. The hospital issued a public statement condemning her actions. But Marcus knew this was more than just one nurse's prejudice. It was a reminder that no amount of wealth or status could shield a black man from the shadows of systemic bias. Marcus used the incident not just as a personal victory, but as a platform. He funded a program to train healthcare workers in anti-bias practices, partnering with hospitals nationwide. In interviews, he refused to let the story become a tabloid scandal. Instead, he spoke about the countless patients without his resources who suffered silently under discriminatory care. When asked why he'd gone to such lengths to expose Ellen, Marcus simply said, "Because the truth doesn't reveal itself to the powerful. It reveals itself to the silent." The footage of him opening his eyes in that hospital bed went viral, not just because it was dramatic, but because it was a mirror. Viewers were forced to confront an uncomfortable truth. Racism doesn't vanish in sterile rooms with white coats. And as the world debated, Marcus's final public statement on the matter lingered in millions of minds. If a billionaire can be treated like this, imagine what happens to those without a voice.